You're lying in bed, the lights are off, the house is quiet, and then you hear it, a creak, a shift. Something moves downstairs. Your heart rate spikes before you've even decided to be afraid. Your ears strain, your eyes widen, trying to pull in light that isn't there. You tell yourself it's nothing, the pipe's settling, the cat. But your body doesn't believe you. Why does this happen? Why, in a house with locked doors and a working alarm system, does your brain still react like something is hunting you? The answer isn't really about your house at all. It's about a world that disappeared a very long time ago, but never fully left your nervous system. For most of human history, the dark was not empty. It was full. Picture the African savanna, somewhere between 1 and 2 million years ago. Your ancestors are small, slow, mostly unarmed. They don't have flashlights. They don't have walls. When the sun goes down, they become something else entirely. They become prey. The paleoanthropologist Donna Hart spent years studying the fossil record for evidence of predation on early hominins, and what she found reshaped how scientists think about human evolution. Researchers have found fossils of human ancestors marked in unmistakable ways, in exactly the places and with exactly the patterns that big cats, hyenas, and crocodiles leave behind. Leopards, hyenas, saber-toothed cats, crocodiles waiting at the water's edge. These weren't rare encounters. They were routine, and almost all of them happened after dark. Now think about what that means for survival. If you were a member of an early human group and night fell and you heard a rustle in the grass, you had two choices. You could assume it was nothing and go back to sleep, or you could assume it was something and stay alert. If it was nothing and you stayed alert, you lost a little sleep. Mildly annoying. But if it was something and you assumed it was nothing, you didn't get a second chance to learn from that mistake. This is the core of what evolutionary psychiatrist Randolph Nesse calls the smoke detector principle. A smoke detector is built to go off loudly at the faintest hint of smoke, because a false alarm costs you almost nothing, while missing a real fire could cost you everything. The same logic applies to fear. A fear system that's a little too sensitive costs you a few sleepless nights. A fear system that's not sensitive enough costs you your life. So evolution didn't build you a fear system that's accurate. It built you one that's cautious. Wildly, sometimes ridiculously cautious. That's the trade your ancestors made, over and over, for millions of years, and you inherited the result. Here's where it gets interesting, though. Because fear of the dark isn't just about danger you can see. It's about danger you can't see. And that distinction matters more than you might think. During the day, your eyes do most of the work. You can scan a room, spot a threat, judge distance, plan an escape route. Your visual system is one of the most sophisticated threat detection tools in the animal kingdom. But at night, that system goes mostly offline. Suddenly, you're relying on hearing, on smell, on vague shapes and shadows that your brain has to guess at. And your brain hates guessing when the stakes are survival. So it fills in the gaps with worst-case scenarios. That shape in the corner of the room? During the day, it's obviously a coat on a chair. At night, for half a second, your brain considers other options first. A person, an animal, something crouched and waiting. This isn't a malfunction. It's a feature. Sociologist Margee Kerr has spent years studying exactly this kind of fear, including extensive research inside haunted attractions, where people pay money to feel exactly what your ancestors felt for free, every single night. What she's found again and again is that uncertainty is the key ingredient. The scariest part of a dark room usually isn't anything inside it. It's simply not knowing what's inside it. Darkness is the ultimate not knowing. It removes information, and your brain, faced with a gap in information about something that could potentially kill it, doesn't shrug and move on. It fills that gap with the most dangerous possibility it can imagine. Multiply this by a few 100,000 generations, and you start to understand why nighttime fear is so deeply wired into you. It's not a personality quirk. It's not something that happens because you watched too many horror movies as a kid. It's a feature that was tested, generation after generation, against real predators, in real darkness, with real consequences for getting it wrong. The humans who felt nothing when the fire went out and the night closed in? Many of them didn't survive long enough to pass that calmness on. The ones who felt their hearts pound, who startled at sounds, who imagined eyes in the darkness and acted accordingly, they were more likely to live, to wake the group, to reach for a weapon, climb a tree, move closer to the fire. And so, here you are, carrying their nervous systems, their alarm bells, their imagination for worst-case scenarios. But notice something. Your modern life almost never matches the conditions that built this system. You're not sleeping in the open, you're not vulnerable to leopards. The something downstairs is, statistically, almost certainly nothing, and yet the alarm still goes off, loudly, reliably, every time the lights go out and the world goes quiet. This is what scientists call an evolutionary mismatch. The environment changed. Your biology didn't get the memo. Think about how strange this actually is when you step back from it. You can rationally know, with complete confidence, that there is nothing dangerous in your dark hallway. You can know this the same way you know the sun will rise tomorrow, and your body will still respond as if a predator might be 3 feet away. That's not irrational. That's not weakness. That's a system doing exactly what it was designed to do, in an environment it was never designed for. It explains so much, once you see it this way. It explains why children, whose brains are still calibrating to the modern world, often fear the dark more intensely than adults. It explains why that fear tends to fade with age, but rarely disappears completely. It explains why almost every culture, in every part of the world, independently developed stories about things that lurk in the dark, monsters, spirits, predators with human faces. These stories aren't random. They're a kind of cultural memory, encoding a truth your ancestors learned the hard way. When the sun goes down, vigilance keeps you alive. And it explains something else too. Something a little more personal. The next time you're lying awake, heart pounding over nothing, try not to fight it. Try not to feel embarrassed by it, or frustrated that your rational brain can't just override it. Because that fear isn't a flaw in your design. It's a message, a very, very old one, passed down, person to person, generation to generation, for longer than recorded history exists. It's the sound of every ancestor who survived a dangerous night, whispering the same thing across hundreds of thousands of years. Stay alert, just in case. You're lying in bed. The lights are off. The house is quiet. And for a moment, you're not really in your house at all. You're standing at the edge of the firelight, looking out into the dark, exactly like every person who came before you.